Welcome to Better Life Today. Have you ever been asked to do something and you're just not sure what to do and where God might be leading? Sometimes we're asked to do something and it's outside of our comfort zone. Other times we're given an opportunity to do something that will make a difference in our community, something that speaks to us. And today I'd like to introduce you to B. Ryan. She's visiting with us, and you have an organization called Our Foster Kids Incorporated.
Yes.
And it sounds like the title of the organization is pretty self-explanatory, tells everything about what you do. You're all about the kids.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to the program. I'm very excited to hear about what you're doing in our community.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so tell me, how did this all start?
Well, it started in 2008 when my company that I was working for at the time came to a group of employees and said, try and do something in the community that makes a difference. It was Christmas time. We threw around some ideas and came up with getting some Christmas presents for foster kids in the area. And from there, we've grown into a 501c3 program that has several different programs, and we serve every foster child in Josephine County.
And so that first year, were you surprised to find out what the needs were in the community?
I was. I don't know what I expected when I called the Department of Human Services and told them that we wanted to gather Christmas presents for foster kids. And I remember that we received a list of children's ages and genders for about 75 kids.
75 kids, and that's throughout the county?
Well, that was what they sent us.
Okay.
Whether or not there were more, I don't know, but that's, we asked for what would help, and that's what they sent us. And since then, we've seen that list grow from 75 to all the way up to 400 some
Really?
years.
Okay.
The last couple of years, due to COVID, I think the numbers have come down, but they do fluctuate. And it usually stays around 200.
Okay. So you're given this opportunity to do something special for kids, and this had a special connection for you. So I'd like to hear a little bit about your story and what brought you to this and opened up this part of your heart for other kids.
Foster children mean something special to me because I was a foster child. I went into the foster system at age 9 and traveled through that journey and aged out at 18. I had good times, I had some bad times. Learned a lot about myself, but I also learned that I wasn't overly unique. Growing up and talking to other foster children, we all have a similar story as we travel through foster care. One that probably resonates with me the most is the fact that these children feel different. No matter how hard foster parents try, these children still feel different. And when you feel different, it messes with your self-esteem.
Right.
And so that's one of that's part of our mission statement for our foster kids, is that we will do whatever we can to promote self-esteem in foster children, because we know how important it is. That's the foundation for being a good public citizen.
Right.
To be part of our community is to have a self-esteem that you know that you're valued.
So when you were young, you had the opportunity to be on the other side of this, to be the person receiving a gift. Tell me what happened.
Well, I was 9. It was my first Christmas in foster care, and there was a present under the tree that I was told it was for me. And being a child that grew up poor, there were times that I didn't have Christmas.
Right.
So knowing that there was a present under the tree for me was really
Just
exciting.
for you.
It was just for me.
Right.
And when it was given to me on Christmas morning, I looked at the tag, and I want to preface it by saying I was grateful. I knew enough to be grateful for the present that I got, but the tag on it said, "For girl, age 7."
And you were 9.
And I was 9. I was a girl, but it didn't have my name on it.
Right.
So one of the things that I asked our board of directors to be a cornerstone of our program is that we personalize every Christmas present. We have the child's name, we have their age, and that's what we put on the packages. So when those packages go out and the child sees them, they know that those packages were made for them,
Right.
that their name was spoken, and we put together something that we hope that they like.
That's awesome, and that resonates, I think, with all of us. We have these opportunities to be recognized for who we are, and I'm a part of a big family, and I can imagine, you get those presents that it's for the group or whatever
Right.
else, but to have that one with your name on it, and you'd see it there, and you're just so looking forward to it. I can hardly imagine. Well, I don't have to imagine. I can remember getting some gifts where you're so excited, and then it's, the ugly Christmas sweater or something else that you're not happy with.
Wah, wah.
But yeah, but it's still for you. Somebody still spent
Yep.
the time focused on you, and to not have that, and to have the insecurity that comes with, I can only imagine. Tell me, what would your definition of a foster child? What is a foster child technically?
Well, technically, a foster child is a child that is removed from their home, usually for their own safety, rarely through their own fault, and they're placed with, in most cases, a stranger.
Right.
That's the technical version of a foster child. But my version of a foster child is someone who, when you're in a situation, your family, it doesn't matter how bad it is, you can have parents fighting, you can have whatever's going on in that home. That's your home.
It's still your family.
That's your family. That's your world. And when you're taken out of that world, most of the time those children, nobody sits that child down and says, this is for your own good, and we're going to place you with this nice family over here who's going to give you a nice clean home, a clean bed, clean sheets, clean clothes, because that's what you should have. That child still wants what they've always known. And so you end up with a child that doesn't know that they should be grateful. What do they have to be grateful for? You've taken me out of my home.
Right.
They're angry. A lot of times foster homes, or I'm sorry, foster children in sibling situations, they have a hierarchy. So your oldest child might be the one who gets up every morning and makes food or meals in preparation for the day for the other siblings.
Right.
And you take this sibling group out of that home that they've always known, they've always had their roles, and you put them in a foster home. They're often confused and they don't know their role, and they
Right.
want things to go back to what's comfortable, what they're used to. And so what you're left with is a child that a lot of times they don't know who they are. They don't know how to be happy. They don't know going outside to play. They don't know those things that maybe somebody who grew up with their mom and dad for their whole life
Right.
and had those normal family experiences, they can only imagine what that's like.
Right, and now they're in this world, this limbo sometimes. Full disclosure, I have family members that have helped with the foster program, and I have such gratitude for people who are willing to open their homes.
I do too.
To children, but again, it's very disruptive to the children, and it can be this limbo of, I've seen situations where, well, you're gonna be adopted, but then the whole legal system, everything else, and
Exactly.
it's almost like they're pawns.
They're ping pong balls, is what they are.
Yeah. And
You
so
know?
you, through this organization, you've taken this opportunity to kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like you're able to come in and interrupt that
Little
just
bit.
for a minute and say, I see you.
Yeah.
And you today, for this moment, you get to be a kid because
Exactly.
I see you and here's something for just you.
And it's also a way of telling these children that the community as a whole appreciates them and that they are valued. Because that's the key that I learned as a foster child, is that my situation, and I was in lots of foster homes, all those individual situations made me who I am today, whether they were good or bad.
Right.
But I didn't know that going through it. But there were some important figures in my life that stepped in for just a moment, just a minute, to say, you are valued. You are a person. You have a voice. And if that's through Christmas presents, that's great.
Right.
If that's through brand new backpacks and school supplies to start school with, that's wonderful. That's what I'm here for. Every month we get a list of upcoming birthdays for the month.
Okay, so it's not just Christmas
Oh
presents.
no, it's not just
Okay.
Christmas. Every month we take birthday cards and we write a little special note to the foster child that's whatever it is that we put in there, but it's usually something uplifting. You're thought of. Happy birthday from your special friends. We see you, that kind of thing. And we send it out to each foster child that has a birthday that month. And we include a little $5 gift card.
Right.
So they can go get ice cream or, whatever they want to do with it.
Right.
But that's our way of making sure that they know on a constant basis that throughout the year that they're thought of.
Right.
They are important. These children are going to grow up to be the leaders of our country. The good, the bad, the indifferent, they're still going to grow up and they're going to be the next generation. And it's our job as a community to make sure that we're doing all that we can do to make their childhood happy,
Right.
even for a moment.
Right. Well, I'm so glad you're here with us. We're going to be taking a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about your organization and how this invitation, this corporate invitation to do something, find something for the community, turned into an organization that is purely focused on our children, specifically those in foster care. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned.
Better Life Broadcasting is a viewer-supported Christian media ministry that offers streaming programming via apps on various devices. Please visit blbn.org to support Better Life or to get more information. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back. I am joined by B. Ryan, and you are the executive director
Yes.
of Our Foster Kids Incorporated. And I'll say incorporated because otherwise it sounds like we're talking about our kids.
Right.
But we are, right? We're talking about our kids
Absolutely.
in this community. And so you were given this opportunity by the corporate structure to do something special. 1 year, one time.
One time.
I doubt, did they have a vision of continuing this?
No, it was, it truly was hey, we need to do something, think of something for,
Right.
that you can do in your community. It was a broad statement,
Right.
and it basically changed my life.
And so part of that process of changing your life, so you're given this project, you had 75 kids that first year, but then it didn't end. Why did it not end?
It didn't end because it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see the community come together. And foster kids, I didn't know we had foster kids. And they would bring in armloads of toys and wrapping each one of those toys. And in the beginning, we used to wrap each one. And you can imagine that if you've got 75 kids and they got 3 gifts, yeah, that was a
That
lot.
added up.
That added
Yeah.
up to a lot of tape and a lot of ribbon. But I did it the second year because I wanted to see if I could replicate that feeling that I got the first year. And no, I couldn't. I was tenfold.
Oh.
It was, this is what I want to do. And as the organization has grown and we've become a 501c3, we have a board of directors, we have, we look forward 5 years trying to figure out what do we need to do in the next 5 years. As that's grown over 15 years, again, it surges my heart. It just, I know that if there is one child out there, just one in our community, that opens up a present and says, oh, we've done our job.
Right. So you said when you first started talking about this, you said the community came together. So how did you involve the community?
It was a retail store that I worked at,
Okay.
and it was basically talking to, one-on-one like this to customers that would come in, and we said we're collecting for foster kids. And in the beginning, it was, I was a little shocked at the fact that people didn't really understand or know that we had foster children in Josephine County. Now, remember, this was 15 years ago. There's been a lot more transparency in the last 15 years as far as DHS and foster children in the community and different things that, but back then, it almost felt like it was Josephine County's dirty little secret that we had foster kids. And then you start talking about, foster kids are not bad kids. They're in a situation that they can't control.
Right.
But they're still kids. And, moving on to naming the organization, we didn't have a name for the first 3 years. And after a lot of soul searching, it came to me one day that when a child goes into foster care, at that moment that they're placed into that system, they become society's children.
Right.
They become your responsibility as well as my responsibility.
Right. They become our kids.
They become our foster kids.
Yeah.
And that's how we named our organization, is that we truly believe that we all have an obligation to these kids when their parents, for whatever reason, and it's not always that the parents did a bad thing. I've known of children whose parents were unfortunately killed in a car accident, and there was no other immediate family to take them. They were placed in foster care. So not only are they grieving their parents, they're trying to understand, what they're doing. Those kids need us the most.
Right.
All of those kids that are placed in foster care need the community the most. So that's why we've expanded from Christmas. Not only Christmas is our big one, because I don't know about anybody else, but I love Christmas. But we do birthday cards. We send out a birthday card to every child who has a birthday during the month. And we also do back to school supplies. During the summer, we did it last year, we're going to do it again this year. During the summer, we try and have a foster family picnic that we sponsor, where we bring all of the foster families, all the kids in that family, whether it's biological children of the foster parents, but especially the foster children. We don't ask the foster children to wear a special shirt to tell us, what they're the foster child. We just bring all the kids together, and last year we were able to get bounce houses, and we had pizzas, and we just spent the day, watching children play.
Right. I
and
love
laugh.
that. I love that because it would seem to me that this is one of those situations where you could just feel so alone. That I'm the only foster kid in the county.
Yes.
And to just feel that community and feel like, oh, it's almost, I have children. I have 3 boys. And when things are going on in the family and there's some discord, one of my favorite things is getting together with other families, and that aha I get when I see their kids maybe misbehaving. And it's just like, oh,
I'm not
I'm not
alone.
alone.
Exactly.
And to be able to give that gift to the
Yes.
children, that they're not alone through the gifts, through the school supplies, through these events, this takes a lot of hands. So what does it take to run an organization like this? How many people are involved?
We have a board of 5 members that oversees the big picture. I am the executive director and basically the visionary. I come up with the ideas, and then we have lots of volunteers. And we have volunteers that just like to volunteer at Christmas.
Okay.
They love putting, I'll hand you a name, and there will be a room full of toys. And I will tell you that, Jacob is 9 years old. Please go find 3 exceptional packages for Jacob.
So do you know much about Jacob?
Nope.
Are you able, so it's just, this is Jacob, this is his
Yep.
age, and you just let
And
them.
you as an individual get to go
Yeah.
out and pick out,
Wow.
and it's kind of fun to watch it, watch somebody who's never done it before, because you get very thoughtful. I wonder if Jacob would like this puzzle. I'm not sure. No, I don't think Jacob will like this puzzle. Maybe he'll like this car. And that is one thing that our organization, we have people that want to volunteer, and they'll say, oh, when do we get to see the kids? We don't get to see the kids.
Oh.
This is, we are doing acts of kindness for these foster kids. There is no expectation that these children will say thank you.
Right.
There is no expectation that the families will say thank you, that they owe us nothing. And so that's why the only time that we ever see foster kids is maybe at a picnic event. And then we are very careful to tell our volunteers that are working that event, you don't know which one is a foster child or which one is a biological child.
Right.
And we do that for a reason. I didn't want anyone to know that I was a foster child when I was in foster care. I felt like I was on display.
Yeah.
You have this big, sign around your neck that says foster kid. When parents of my friends would find out that I was a foster child, it was very common that they would tell their kids they couldn't play with me because there was something wrong with me or something. And it's very sad, but it's also, that's kind of our society. So we work really hard to make sure that, nope, there's no stigma, there's no, you don't get, as a volunteer, you don't get to interact with the kids. We don't, once in a while, we will send out forms to the foster families and maybe get some ideas, like maybe a favorite color or maybe a, favorite toy or favorite action, figure. But we found it works out better for our volunteers to just be able to give from the heart.
Right. Because it's the blessing of the giving.
It
and
is.
if I could see how that could be problematic because you don't want it, it's not about you.
It's not at
It's
all.
about the children. So here you have the opportunity to volunteer. What does that look like? Are there requirements to be a volunteer for your organization?
The requirements are you have to be able to pass a basic background check, of course.
Right.
And that's in case we come in contact with children. At Christmas time especially, we do have several youth organizations that come and volunteer. So our adult volunteers need to be well vetted. And other than that, you have to have a love for kids.
Right.
And you have to be nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know whose scale
yeah.
that nice is on, but
Right.
we kind of ask that you're nice.
Yeah.
They can always go to our website, which is ourfosterkids.com. There is an email address on there, info@ourfosterkids.com,
Right.
or my personal email is b@ourfosterkids.com, and let us know that you're interested.
Right. And there's also fundraising. So how do you raise
There is
funds for your
fundraising.
organization?
That's always the hard part for me, is talking about raising funds, because we do such good work. We really do, and we do make a difference, but there are bills to pay.
Yeah.
We typically have one large fundraiser during the year. It's been terribly difficult the last 2 years because of COVID.
Right.
Our next fundraiser coming up is in February of 2023, which is next February. We are going to have a black tie event, masquerade ball with the theme Night in New Orleans.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're going to have the masks and the feathers and the purple and the yellow. We will have a silent auction and a live auction. So if there's anyone that would like to, has something they would like to donate to the silent auction or the live auction,
All
please,
right.
let
Well,
me
we
know.
are going to put your contact information up on the screen. And
Please.
folks, we have these opportunities to engage in these incredible organizations like our Foster Kids Incorporated. And I'm just so thankful for the impact you're having in our communities and
you.
the example that you're giving and the opening your heart. You know, we are built of our experiences, and it's an opportunity for God to allow whatever that is to work through us to help other people.
You're absolutely
So
right.
thank you so much, B, for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Better Life Today. Go out and help somebody. Goodbye.